Today I want to talk about a different subject. Some of you who have been following me may know that currently I live in China, and I specifically live in a northern city called Tianjin, and currently I'm staying in an apartment building that my mom owns. Right, and just since the end of last week, the apartment, the room above me, basically on the top of this building, has been the owner has started a renovation project, and they're using jackhammers to basically remove everything that's on the wall and on the ceiling and on the floor to the bare bricks and the rebars, right? That's what they are doing, and of course it's quite destructive. And on the wall in my mother's apartment, there are some fissures. Okay, no big deal, right? I'm not really. My mom doesn't live here. My mom lives in the countryside. I don't plan on living here more than a couple of months, I guess. So it's not a big deal. But I was very angry because this is still a matter of security, safety, right? I don't care the cosmetics aspect of this apartment. But my own safety, let's not pretend that I am such a noble person, that I care so much about the safety of everyone else living in this building. I should, but primarily I care about my own safety. And by damaging the integrity of this building, they are putting my safety at risk. And of course, at the same time, they are putting the safety of everyone else that's living in this building at risk. They don't care. And today, of course, when they were using the jackhammer, I had to go out. I take a drive, visit a nearby town, go to the city, whatever, right? But today, this morning, before I was leaving, I looked outside, and what were they doing? They were throwing bricks that they have removed, and they were throwing it out of the window onto the ground. And that was just a passage. That was the entrance to this apartment building. It's only a 4-story building, but nevertheless, they were throwing bricks out of the window. That's what they were doing. And I made a mistake, right? I usually shoot videos with my camera, but today I had my phone with me, so I tried to take a video. I made a mistake, and instead I took a photo because Samsung, right, is not very good. Well, they were lucky, because if I had taken this video, I would have shared it with the authorities. I called the police, but I didn't have the video. I should have sent it to the prosecutors. This type of behavior. This is public endangerment. This is reckless. This is completely reckless. And the chief, the guy that's in charge there, told me, we're following all the rules. Everything we do is in order with the law. And I don't really believe that guy. I think that guy was bullshitting me. He thinks that I'm just, maybe I am just a poor, stupid guy living in a not very good neighborhood. But I do see, I have seen some things, right? I have seen some things that perhaps most of the other stupid guys, poor guys living in not very good neighborhoods have. So I understand that what they were doing, that if they really kill someone, that's murder 3, right? Murder 1 is if you have premeditation, if you have motive, and you have the action. Murder 2 is if you have the motive and the action, and murder 3. That's what that is. It's not manslaughter, because manslaughter is if you are trying to do a decoration, right? If you try to install a window. You made a mistake. The window falls to the ground, falls off the top floor and kills someone. That's that's manslaughter. So you didn't mean it. But if you don't care whether there are people downstairs, you just throw your window off. That's not a mistake. That's you meant to hurt someone. That's very different, right? That guy should be very, very thankful now that I didn't take that. I made a mistake and didn't take that video. But anyway, a bigger point that I want to make is that China, as a country, its government, central government in particular, has some good plans, and they talk a very good talk. But it misses a very big piece of the puzzle for China to become really a strong country, a country that can be compared as one of the greats in history, and that is that the overall civil development of the public, right? People don't care so much about others. They care about money, but they don't care so much about others. There is very little respect, especially in some people. Okay, there are a lot of people who are educated and they have respect. But then there are people who, perhaps a lot of them have a lot of money, but they have no respect, very little respect. I know this is not just a Chinese problem, but it is nevertheless a very severe problem. It's a problem that comes with materialism. And have some respect for other people. I think this is very important. And if there is one advice that I can give to the educators in China, to people who in charge, the public officials in charge of education in China, is to let go of the old way of educating for people in terms of their morals, right? Don't let people don't judge people by how well they respond in written tests or oral tests or whatever test that they answer to questions of such as in this and that condition, what you will do, what will you do? That is not really a good test of people, right? We did have to come up with a way to have people really believe that it is in the end, it is simply because it's right that you do something, not because you do something so that you make money. You do something so that you benefit from it. But you do something because it is right. And this level of morality is what separates humans, in my belief. That's what separates from humans and animals. It's not purely everything is not interest. Some things, of course, is interest. But a lot of times you do things because it is right. And I'm not an idealist. I don't want to pretend that I'm a noble person, right? I like, I'm just saying this in hypothetical terms, but I like to speed, I like to run red lights or whatever, but, not officially, no. So it's, but I don't like to, but I never drink and drive, and I never drive in the opposite direction, right? I don't want to endanger other people's life and in the process endanger mine. This, the knowledge that when everyone contributes to building a more civilized society, everyone benefits. That is something that it's still missing. That is one piece that is still missing. And insofar as that is not satisfied and that is not a high level of this civil development is not achieved, China remains a developing country. Doesn't matter the number of economics, right? And I think the standards of living would remain remain sluggish in terms of its growth, because people will pollute because it is convenient for them. They will pollute. They will manufacture counterfeit goods, low quality goods. They will try to defraud other people. So overall, the the happiness that you have in living in this country is not does not correspond with the level of economic development, does not correspond with the total amount of effort that's been made by the population, because there's a lot of discount. Because sometimes, because you breathe air that is not very good, so you need air purifier. Your water is not very good, so you need a water purifier. When you go out, when you take a drive, there are a lot of people who cut you off, and there are people who park places that's not that they're not supposed to, and they block your way, right? And when you are in the store, when you want to buy some things, you're afraid that people, actually right now this is the case. You go to the store, a lot of stores don't have price tags anymore. You ask for the price and they don't give the same price to everyone. This is in big stores. It is supposedly not legal, but there is not sufficient law enforcement. Right. Another point that I want to make is that law enforcement in China is weak in this type of situations. Right. It is the litigation process for civil suits is extremely long and extremely costly, and the only party that wins usually is the lawyer. That's something that should change. There should be a quicker process for law enforcement, for this type of situations. But anyways, that's a story that I want to tell. But also, as a side note, I have purchased, as I came back last December, I purchased a very old Mercedes S500. It's W220 chassis, if you know, for very little money, probably $5,000-$6,000. That's about what I paid. It's actually I think it's actually in very good condition, but people don't like it. People don't like it. They don't like it because rich people think that it's not an expensive car anymore. They can't look rich in it. And poor people think that it's 5 liters. They don't want to pay gas for it, so that's why it's cheap, but it actually is in decent condition. And I brought it in to the dealer to have the transmission fluid and the filter changed. Now I usually do my own services, but this transmission has only a drain plug. It doesn't have a fuel hole, so and I don't have a lift. So I figured, since the price is not really that high, probably $400, let's go to the dealer. And what happened? The dealer used the wrong fluid. How can that happen? Well, simply because they think that since you own a car that is manufactured more than 10 years ago, you're not really a Mercedes, an honored Mercedes owner. You are just a cheap, poor motherfucker who happens to get a cheap Mercedes. And this is not the only. You see what the service advisor told me? You see, we're not so sure about this. This car has air suspension. If we put on the lift, if the airbag can break, can explode. I see, what the fuck is that? This car on the clock, it has only 150, maybe 157, 158,000 kilometers now. I think maybe it has been clocked, but judging from some of the parts, brakes, brake disc in particular, it was still brake disc from 2010. With the level of wear, I can guess that maybe it has been clocked. At most, this car has done 250,000 kilometers maximum, because of the amount of wear on this car. There's no leak anywhere. Everything works well, and the air suspension seems to be, I hope it's not, but it seems to be original. So does not seem. I think this car still has at least 250,000 kilometers life in it. But to these guys who only honor, who only respect money, to these guys, this car is not worthy of being a Mercedes anymore. And I find it really, really, really insulting. Really insulting. Of course, I'm never going to buy a new Mercedes. Certainly not an S-Class. But an old one, especially from an era where the drivetrain is quite solid, I think it's a reasonable choice. But these guys, you see, and after I realized that they used the wrong fluid. By the way, the right fluid in that 7G Tronic transmission, this is a 2005, so it's a 7-speed 7G Tronic. It's supposed to be 236.14. It's a red fluid. They put in 236.15, the low viscosity blue fluid inside. Now, I was very angry. I told them this. And what did that guy told me? They told me that Mercedes has substituted, so the blue fluid has supplanted the other fluid. I said, this is absolutely nonsense. I can find the material on the internet from Mercedes-Benz own website that shows otherwise, right? I can show data on the viscosity index, on the pour point, all the specific data. The two fluids are very much different, right? And I called the Mercedes service. It took me a lot of time to really manage to get them to flush out that wrong fluid and replace it with the correct fluid, right? And when I was there, their service chief, I guess their workshop chief, told me, well, actually, it's not so much different, right? The later 7G, I know that. The later 7G Tronic, it's actually 7G Tronic Plus. 7G Tronic Plus uses the blue fluid. It's a low viscosity fluid. It's used in those cars with the start-stop function, right? But the two fluids are very different. The workshop chief said, these are not so different. The 7G Plus also uses the same design in the friction material. I told him that. I don't know whether the friction material are the same. I think probably actually they are. But what they are certainly different are the valve bodies and the ECMs. Right, so that means that you cannot use the same. You cannot use fluid that is 40% more less viscous. 40% less viscous. You can't do that, right? But those people, they don't really value your car. They don't really respect you. They think that you are a poor guy that goes there to pay them money. You should be you should be grateful to them that they take your money. That's basically what they have shown me. Now, I'm not going to hold grudges in the sense against my own car, because I think, okay, this is still a decent car. It's made in Germany. If it's a Mercedes that's made in China, fuck that. I'm not going to buy a piece of shit that's made in China. I mean, even though I'm Chinese, I know that those cars, these guys, when they make Mercedes in China, they don't even install anti-sway bars. Because they wanted the suspension to be soft, they softened the suspension, they lengthened the wheelbase, they removed the anti-sway bars. What kind of junk are those cars? And of course, they jack up the price. For the price that you pay for an E-Class with 4 cylinders, you could, in America, get an S-Class with 6 cylinders. That's the thing. You got to be very stupid to buy that. But anyway, that's the situation, right? In China, people don't respect you if you don't have money. Now, of course, if you are white in particular, they will respect you. But if you are not white, if you're Chinese, you don't have money, they don't respect you. And I think this is something that is really, really bad. And I think it will stop. It is one point that will prevent China from becoming a great country, a great power, at least in today's world. It will still take decades for China to actually have the level of civil development where to a point where people perhaps still love money, still are material, but that they don't worship money to the same extent. That they understand that there are more to life than to worship money. That they understand that people with money are not necessarily going to respect them back. Right? It's really stupid, in my judgment, to treat people with money with such respect, because they're not even going to give you 1 cent more. Right? This is fucking unbelievable. But this is the situation, and I think the materialism is a big problem in China. And I don't think that the current government or any government has any quick fixes. Let's see what will happen in 3 decades. Hopefully I will still be here, but I'm not thinking. I don't think that a lot is going to change. I think it remain material. Perhaps still, at most, it's going to be like Hong Kong. I don't think that's good enough. I think people love money too much in Hong Kong, and that's a very sorry affair, right? China is supposed to be a communist country, but for some reason, Chairman Mao made a lot of effort and perhaps took a lot of detours for the Chinese people in order to perhaps make China a more egalitarian place. And I think there are discussions that could be made whether in historic terms that period was good or bad, right? But it does not take long. It didn't take long. Maybe it took 5 years, 10 years, 20 years for people to turn a somewhat communist planned economy to one that is wholly materialistic, wholly Reaganite. I think this is a really sad affair. Currently, I think the government under the current administration is trying to change this a little bit, but I think there needs to be more effort on this front, because it's really just not all about money. Fuck money, okay? You never bring it with you. All right, so that's today's podcast. I guess I've run enough. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.